All right, have and have not fans, it's time to do an episode recap of the Haves and the Have Nots season premiere called Afraid of Flames. Now, if you joined in on the live stream and saw me on Facebook as well in the Facebook group and Facebook page I have for the Haves and the Have Nots, of course, the links to all of my social media outlets are in the description below. I ranked the episode a 7 out of 10, not a particularly bad episode. And thankfully, one of my Twitter followers actually sent me a picture, which I'll put on the screen now. It actually details the ratings for the Haves and the Have-Nots. It looks like, and it says here on OWN, the Season 5 premiere of the Haves and the Have-Nots managed to rank in, wow, a rating which is 3/10 decrease from what it was in the Season 4 premiere. Basically a 0.6 from a 0.9. So I will admit, I did go into this episode, a lot of people with me, I guess you could say, online as well as live stream, we theorized that this episode would have been through the roof in terms of, you know, ratings, because one heck of a cliffhanger with Veronica and Melissa getting in a car wreck. But it seems to me that maybe that wasn't enough to get fans interested. I'm not saying the ratings are bad. It's just interesting that the ratings are slightly decreased from last year. I'm guessing that more people were looking at the fact that Quincy Jr. got shot in the last season finale, and the last season finale we had was the car wreck, so maybe not as many people were interested. I don't know. We'll just have to wait to see the rest of the season plays out. Basically, this episode recap, as always, there's going to be other various videos I'll be doing, which are theory breakdowns, episode preview breakdowns as well. But overall, I did think it was a solid episode, as I've tweeted out and posted on Facebook. What really hurt this episode, in my opinion, the main thing being the car wreck. I went back to rewatch the episode. I watched it again this morning around 10 a.m. Guys, the episode was only about 38 minutes long. Again, this episode was 38 minutes long. If you subtract about the last 40 seconds where you have, you know, the end credits as well as the episode preview for next week, and I believe like the first 2 or 3 minutes of this episode was a recap of last season. This episode as a whole, you know, I wasn't a major in math, but this episode was probably about 34 to 36 minutes long. And I was a bit surprised by that. I did notice that there were a lot more commercials than usual. So I'm not saying this was a weak episode. I'm surprised by how much story in terms of setup that we got based off the short amount of time we got in the episode. I'm just, number one, shocked by the, I'll put it this way, I'm shocked the episode was so short, as well as the ratings being down from last season. So I guess you could say this episode didn't meet the numbers in terms of the length of the episode, as well as the actual ratings itself. So just let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. In terms of setup here, we got the plot where Candace is literally back to her old ways, robbing people. Honestly, that's probably one of the most dumbest things I've ever seen her. I mean, I get that she has this intel on people. What got me about this scene where she had that corporate guy in her you know, hotel room, took $1,800 as well as his wallet, and then literally just told him to get out because you've worked hard for where, I can just tell you're the kind of man that worked hard to get to where you are now. Are you really willing to lose that over somebody you're not even going to have sex with? And there's no telling how many other men she did that to, but we do know that after Benny was pushed out of the room, literally there was somebody else coming for her. I'm thinking that's just ridiculous because, number one, you're putting yourself in a position where you're making even more enemies than before, literally. And it goes back to what she was telling Hannah about how I wish you were dead and being an unmarked grave so I can spit on it. And Hannah's like, you just spoke your own death into existence, and by telling me that nonsense, you're probably going to be killed off in a grave that's going to be unmarked, and all your enemies are going to be standing over you. So Candace is talking about revenge on all these people, and yet she's building more people to stand against her. And then what really kills me is the fact that Benny came in there and talked about how you're just squandering away your abilities and whatnot. And I'm just listening to him saying that he's literally throwing down facts. And what's crazy about it is we literally got like right before Benny came into the room, we got that out of Candace, like the way she can read people. Can you imagine if she took those techniques, skills, finished up law school, and then brought that to the darn courtroom? Again, people, she could be another Veronica Harrington. I'm talking about in court. I'm not talking about, you know, her scheming and planning. I'm talking about as a lawyer. She would be one of the best damn lawyers in the country, and even Hannah told her this. All right, so then we got Candace pretty much pushing, you know, Benny away. And if I could sum up the episode, I would just say stubbornness is pretty much the key theme throughout the entire episode. People who are either being stubborn or just making dumb decisions. Now, when I say dumb, there were some pretty dumb choices made in this episode, but it wasn't to the point where, oh my God, this season opener was terrible. I'm not saying that. You look at Hannah pretty much just throwing away the blessing of the house and everything that Kathryn wants to give her. You have Candace throwing away love and family. You know, Benny's checking on his sister, and I really appreciated that. I'm glad that Benny isn't just sitting on his laurels just doing nothing. He's actually being proactive and getting his family back together. Though I do find it kind of strange he refers to Hannah as mommy instead of mama like he usually does, but again, that's something that I think he started doing after he got out of the coma. I don't know. Again, something else that may or may not be brought up again, but just throwing it out there. Then you have Benny as an extension of the stupidity train, going on about taking $45,000 from the Malones to pay for a tow truck. And I made a video earlier about, you know, will Candace need to cash in her favor with Mama Rose to save her brother? I feel like that's most likely one of the best theories I can think of from this episode, just because this was the setup episode of Candace pushing everyone away to exact revenge on everyone. And as Chandler pointed out, as well as a couple other people in the live stream last night, Candace was most likely referring to Hannah and her revenge scheme, because the first thing she said was, I want to get back at her, Jim Cryer, everyone that's ever done me wrong. And this happened right after Benny told her about, look, mama's not responsible for Quincy dying. And also Benny laying down the truth of, you started all this. And that's absolutely correct. I mean, literally, Candace was the one to blackmail Jim Cryer, which was the first domino in this cycle of destruction that's been going on, literally. I will admit, I am interested in, I believe his name is Braxton, the manager of the hotel that Jim and Kathryn have, 70% shares in. I feel like that would be an interesting dynamic, because even though Jim is trying to be, well, Jim Cryer, this guy, based off the preview next week, doesn't look like he's somebody to be trifled with. So I'm very interested to see what he has in store. Also, we have David and Erica, and arguably the dumbest thing done in this episode. David inviting Erica, who we just met, to live with him. Let me say that again. After just meeting Erica not too long ago, David apparently trusts her enough to allow her to move in with him. Then proceeds to give her his credit card, which, as you remember, was the thing that Candace said that, hey, at this point, you ought to have his credit card by now. Get it. Oh, God. And we know in the preview, well, actually, the extended teaser trailer for the season, that at some point, Candace will be coming over to the house and Erica will be there too. So, not only did the sheep David invite the wolf Erica to live in with him, well, excuse me, move in with him, but also proceeded to give over the credit card. So, my God, there's no telling what's going to happen with that. I just know it's going to be the setup for something bigger. So, in my opinion, I don't think Erica's going to be killed off anytime soon just because of this setup. And also, everybody's talking about how Jim was like 10 seconds from meeting Erica. Some people have been speculating that Erica and Jim may know each other or have met. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they haven't. However, I think it was interesting writing that Jim just so happened to miss the opportunity to meet up with Erica. So they may have had some history in the past, but we'll just have to wait and see. One other thing to mention about Erica, some people have noticed that she does look a bit fuller in the face hinting at the fact that she may be with child with boyfriend Brett Davis, who is Mitch on the show as well. If so, congratulations. Again, nothing confirmed yet, but somebody actually posted in a Have and Have Not Facebook group. I want to see if I can find a picture and put in the video of those two together. Again, lovely couple. And Erica does look a bit fuller in the face, but I don't know. Again, they say pregnant women are glowing, but regardless, she looks great. Maybe it's a thing I have for caramel complexions, but she still looks good. But it could be why she's still wearing David's coat. Interesting. Just like Candace was wearing a trench coat during most of the last season, or not getting into physical altercations like she will be in the next episode with Quita, as I predicted. So also, let's see, moving on. So we talked about Kathryn, Hannah, Benny, Mitch, Erica, David. Also, before we move along, just talking about the dynamic between Jim and David. I think Jim is a friend of David. He just uses him a bit too much. But we all have that one friend who never pays for dinner when you go out to lunch together and just expects things to be handed to him. Like, come on, give me the card. Give me the card. Give me this. Give me that. And I'm just like, are you serious right now? And I did think it was a bit funny just seeing off the dynamic. There's plenty of cash right there. Go get yourself a hotel. It's like, I need the card. You gave your guest that card. I'm just like, oh my God. You know what's funny? I did find it funny when Jim pointed out. So she gives Hannah a condominium and then kicks me out of the hotel. So I'm going to do a video about the Kathryn and Jim dynamic. And I'm not going to lie. Part of me thinks that those two might actually work it out and stay together, because I think Kathryn is having way too much fun making Jim suffer to let him go so easily. I mean, but she did, going back to the stubborn train, she offered Jim 2 opportunities to get what he wanted. And one being, number one, go ahead, sign the divorce papers. I'll give you $250,000 right now and you can go on your way. But he declined. Okay, you want to stay in the hotel? Tell me what Wyatt's address is. Nope, then security nicely escorted him out. Oh, man. So pretty much you got daughter and mother, Hannah and Candace, literally rejecting help. Then you have Jim, again, just rejecting help twice. But he's more than willing to mooch off of David. And then David unknowingly handed his card to, honestly, aside from Veronica, his worst enemy at the moment. And then we're talking, I think the last two sets of characters I want to discuss right now would be, of course, the opening with Jeffrey and Justin. But guys, I definitely need to focus on its own separate video when I talk about those characters. Just know that I feel like we wasted a good amount of time during the first portion of the episode just with those two. But based off the episode preview and everything that Justin has done, he's pretty much hooked on Jeffrey at this point. It's like, look, I invested in, and I've done too much to just say I'm not going to have you. So again, based off the episode preview, Jeffrey is going to be put in an awkward situation, but that's his own video. Then we could talk about, let's see, Wyatt and Ana. Again, another video I need to do, just because Ana, oh my God. First of all, I love women with accents, long, voluptuous hair, and a caring personality. But part of me doesn't trust her. There have been theories going around about her working with Celine, who was mentioned in this episode by Kathryn for the first time in a while that we've heard Celine's name, which could hint at her coming back this season, which I wouldn't mind. Then you have her working with Oscar, and there are a lot of important things that were dropped during the scene with Wyatt. I mean, some people have been telling me that that was the guy that actually, first of all, we learned that there was more than one priest that messed around with Wyatt when he was a kid at the church or the summer camp. And then also some people have been telling me, and again, I watched the episode twice, but there were some scenes where the dialogue felt a bit choppy in terms of, the characters might have been speaking too quietly. And even when Jim and David were talking about their plan to get on Mama Rose's good side by using Benny to get to Mitch to get to Mama Rose, their dialogue was so whispered. They were whispering, and there were a lot of basically not to allow Erica to overhear. So I definitely need to rewatch those scenes a couple more times. But when it comes to Wyatt, some people were saying that it was the guy, like that was him. So I definitely need to rewatch the scene. Most interesting thing about Wyatt and Ana, that scene when those two were having sex and, well, making out, that was actually in the episode preview for the season finale last season, but it was cut. So I guess that was just editing. That was, you know, they took it out at the last second. Maybe they decided, okay, let's go ahead and save this for the premiere episode. Honestly, I feel like that bit of dialogue and that scene between Wyatt and Ana, that should have been in the season finale rather than the season premiere, in my opinion. Just because the last time we saw those two was when they were walking from the park, and that was it. Now, getting to the final scene, and again, if I missed anything, let me know. But as far as I know, we get to the last, not even 2 minutes. Folks, I timed it. I don't even think it was a minute and a half. We get Melissa crawling out of the car and Veronica screaming for help. And then Melissa saying, I'm going to just sit here and watch you die. Say my name, bitch. And I'm just like, so the premiere was the episode we're supposed to pick up exactly where we left off, according to Angela Robertson in the magazine article. And yet we're only teased with like not even a 2-minute scene of the car wreck. It looks like next week we're definitely going to be picking up where we left off with, you know, the thing catching on fire, but we'll just have to wait and see. But overall, folks, this episode is one I'll probably watch a couple more times, not because it was that good, but simply because it was very short and I can rewatch a few scenes to get some notes for more videos. But with that being said, I still stand by my ranking of a 7 out of 10 for this episode. Good in terms of setup. If they hadn't have egged us on about the episode picking up with the car wreck, I would have went into this episode more open-minded rather than being a bit, you know, too hyped up for it. So what did you think of the episode as a whole? Do you think 7 out of 10 is fair? What would you scale it on between, 1 and 10? And are you surprised, like I am, that the episode actually lost ratings in terms of season 4? Remember, it dropped from, let's see, let me get that number one more time for you. What? Yeah, it basically went down 3/10 from last season. So with that being said, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really love doing live streams with everyone. It's very great to do a lot of, answering questions when they pop up. I might actually try to do one tonight. So let's see if we can do that around 8 or 9 o'clock unless I pass out. So subscribe, share this video, comment your thoughts, and I'll talk to you later.